Since the living entities are given free will by the Lord, some of them desire to live apart from him. Although this is not good for them, because they will suffer, out of love, the Lord satisfies their desire by allowing them to live in the material world, which is a temporary dark cloud in a far corner of the spiritual sky. The material world emanates from an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and within this cloud, the Lord is not visible to the living entities. When its time of manifestation is complete, the material world is again withdrawn into the transcendental body of the Lord. The conditioned living entities in the material world transmigrate from body to body according to their karma, suffering in separation from their loving relationship with their eternal friend, the Supreme Lord. Finally, one day, they grow tired of material suffering and separation, and desire to revive their eternal loving friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At that time, their good fortune manifests, and through the kindness of the Lord and his devotees, they rediscover their eternal identity and perfect spiritual form in ecstatic relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At this time, they transfer back to the spiritual world, which is their real home, and live happily ever after with their dearmost friend, the Supreme Lord. This is the ontology of a person on the liberated platform of consciousness. It includes everything in the other types of ontologies, but it also has a great deal more that is not present in those ontologies, and it understands everything from a unique spiritual viewpoint. The main difference between the other ontologies and this one is that the viewpoint here is the spiritual body in the spiritual world. Therefore, the most significant realization one can have in this life is that I am not this material body. I am a spiritual living entity with an eternal spiritual body. I am not a creature of this material world. I am an eternal citizen of the spiritual world. This is the difference between materially conditioned consciousness and spiritual consciousness. Now one may question, where are these four types of ontology mentioned in the scriptures? Well, actually, they are mentioned everywhere in the scriptures. Chatur vidha bhajante mam jana sukritinor arto jignasur artarti jnani cha bharatar sabha. O best among the Bharatas, Arjuna, four kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninor taryam aham sachamama priyaha. Of these, the wise one who is in full knowledge in union with me through pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me. Bhagavad-gītā 7, 16 and 17. Every time the Vedic scriptures mention a state of consciousness, such as Brahma Bhuyaya, to be elevated on the Brahman platform, Prakasham, illumination, Pravritim, attachment, Moham, illusion, they are talking about a type of ontology also, because of the intimate relationship between ontology and consciousness. In general, the Vedic scriptures are more expositional than analytical. The analytical side of the Vedic writings is found more in the commentaries by the various acharyas or world teachers of the lineage of the esoteric teaching. Especially the writings of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada express these ontological nuances very nicely. Now, the interesting thing about these four different kinds of ontologies is that under the right circumstances, all of them can come to the esoteric teaching. Notice that Krishna says in that verse quoted just a little bit ago, four kinds of pious men rendered devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. So, when a person in the materialistic ontology becomes distressed, he may inquire into the esoteric teaching for relief from his distress. And when a person on the mental platform is searching for the ultimate system of acquiring wealth, he may also inquire into the teachings of the absolute truth in search of esoteric knowledge of economic development. And the inquisitive, of course, the person on the intellectual platform, is very curious, wants to know everything, thinks that knowledge is the solution to all problems, and it really is. As soon as one comes to the knowledge of the absolute truth, then all problems are automatically solved. And finally, the fourth kind of person who comes to the esoteric teaching is he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. And this describes a person who already has a taste for absolute knowledge and is searching for the source of it. So these four different kinds of people can all render devotional service, but only the one who is in knowledge does it without duress. In other words, the materialistic man, when he's in distress, may turn to religion or may investigate the spiritual teachings out of a desire to become relieved from his distress. But he has to be put into an awkward situation first. He doesn't do it naturally. If left to his own devices, he simply wastes his life searching for sense gratification. Similarly, the person who is in search of wealth, first he has to become poor. If he's not placed in a situation of difficulty, economic distress, then he is not going to be searching so far afield for economic development. He's going to find economic sources that are closer to where he normally hangs out, which is in the materialistic consciousness. The inquisitive is another case. The inquisitive person has already found that knowledge is the key to advancement. However, these people tend to become atheistic because they don't want to give up control. They really don't want to surrender to anyone outside their own mind, their own intelligence. They don't trust that other people have their interest at heart. And so they want to control their own experience and control their own actions and existence. But one who is searching for knowledge of the absolute, who's really already self-realized, knows that surrender to the Supreme Lord is the key to everything. And he's just trying to find a way to do it. So certainly all these are great souls. However, the one who is searching for knowledge of the absolute, the wise one who is in full knowledge of the Lord, is actually the best. Because he comes without any duress. He comes even in good circumstances of life. He comes because he has a taste for the absolute truth. The others still have to develop that taste, and they come only because basically they're hounded into it by circumstances. Now, that's all right. The Lord will accept them no matter what their motivation for coming to devotional service, because he has unconditional love and affection for everyone. He's the original Father, the origin of all the souls, and he cares about each and every one of us as if we were his own child. And therefore, he wants the best for all of us, and he welcomes all of us as soon as we turn to him in search of our eternal, perfect spiritual body. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of My Perfect Body. This is David Hughes, your host, reminding you to visit us on the web at esotericteaching.org, where you can purchase the complete Esoteric Teaching Introductory Seminar DVD and many CDs of transcendental music and mantras.